Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're taking a look at something that, well, it really governs so much of our lives. We're talking about fear.
It's universal, isn't it?
Yeah.
The moment we're born, really.
Exactly. Whether you're a little kid afraid of being left alone or, an adult with that just crushing feeling of performance anxiety, fear is always there.
Mm-hmm.
So for this deep dive, we've been looking at excerpts from Jia Ning's work, Why You Are Always Afraid, to really get into the mechanics of it, how it's built, and maybe how we can start to take it apart.
And that systematic approach is so important. I think that's the real mission here. We tend to think of fear as this enemy we have to destroy.
Right, that it's just a weakness.
Exactly. But the source material really pushes back on that. Fear, in its original form, is actually a good thing. It's a self-protection tool. It keeps you cautious.
So it's only a problem when it gets out of control.
When it becomes disruptive, excessive, and just completely unrealistic,
Yeah.
the whole idea here isn't to run away from it, but to face it. And to discover that the thing you're so afraid of is, well, usually a lot less scary than you build it up to be in your head.
Yeah, that's such a counterintuitive idea because we're just so conditioned to think all fear is weakness, that you have to be fearless.
But the sources say the opposite. A certain amount of fear is actually a huge advantage. It's an asset.
Okay, so it's about finding that sweet spot then, that razor's edge between being prepared and being completely paralyzed.
That's it. Look at what happens physically when you feel a moderate amount of fear.
Mm.
It's basically optimizing your body.
How so?
Your vision actually widens. Your eyes move faster so you can spot danger. Your muscles get tight, ready to fight or run.
And your heart rate goes up, blood flow increases.
All the vital organs, yeah. And your body does something really smart. It shuts down things it doesn't need right then, like your digestive system, just to save that energy. It's a full system reboot for survival.
I can see that making sense for, like, a physical threat. But how does that work for something like public speaking or even recovering from surgery?
It's all about focus. That moderate fear, not the paralyzing kind, actually makes you perform better. The source mentions surgical patients.
Oh, right.
The ones who were a little bit afraid of the pain actually did better after surgery than the ones who said they weren't afraid at all.
Because they were more careful.
They were more vigilant. They followed the recovery rules to the letter. It's the same with experienced soldiers. They rely on that slight sense of fear to keep them sharp, to avoid making a simple, deadly mistake.
It's not about being fearless, it's about using the fear.
Yes. That Darius, the first story from the sources, is just a perfect example of that.
It's amazing. He's in a pitch-black room trying to assassinate a false king, and everyone else just freezes.
They're terrified they're going to stab each other in the dark.
Yeah.
Total paralysis. But Darius, he's full of this intense, focused fear.
And he just yells, "Stab! Don't worry about hitting me!"
And plunges his dagger into the darkness, kills the target. That fear didn't stop him. It channeled all his energy into one single decisive action.
Yeah. So, okay, controlled fear is an asset. But where does it go wrong? When does that healthy vigilance become this crippling anxiety that ruins people's lives?
Well, the sources suggest that a lot of those debilitating fears, they aren't born in us. They're learned.
Learn from where?
From our environment, starting when we're very, very young. Parents do it without even realizing, telling a kid the big bad wolf will get you, just to make them behave.
Or like the example of the child getting a vaccination.
Right, the child isn't afraid of the needle itself, but they pick up on the mother's own subtle fear and aversion, and they learn that this is something to be scared of.
That experiment with the kangaroos really shows how fast that can happen.
It's such a clear example of indoctrination. One group of kids is told kangaroos are these horrible blood-drinking monsters.
And the other group hears they're friendly.
Exactly. And when they're shown a box with kangaroo written on it, the first group just completely avoids it. Their fear is based on nothing but what they were told.
And it gets even wilder. It's not just what you see or hear. It can be biological. You're telling me you can literally smell fear.
That's what the research suggests, yeah. The skydiver sweat experiment. It's incredible. They collected sweat from people jumping out of a plane for the first time.
So people who were definitely terrified.
You'd have to be. And then they had other volunteers smell that sweat. And their brains lit up in the exact same fear control regions.
Wow. So the anxiety hormones from one person triggered a fear response in someone else without any actual threat being present.
It's like biological information being passed directly from one person to another.
So we learn it, we can smell it, and then we make it worse ourselves by avoiding it.
And that's the reinforcement effect. It's a vicious cycle. The more you avoid something you're afraid of, the stronger that fear becomes.
Like the man in the book whose ex-girlfriend kept harassing him.
Yes. Even after he moved and changed his number, that small, nagging fear started to grow. He'd avoid answering the door. He'd stuff boxes in his car so no one could see him.
And every time he did that, he was telling his brain, see, the world outside is dangerous. Hiding is the right thing to do.
And a normal anxiety just snowballed into a serious, crippling condition. Avoidance is like fertilizer for fear.
Which leads right into what might be the most damaging part of all this. The self-fulfilling prophecy.
This is where your own mind starts working against you. It's simple, really. If you expect something bad to happen, you start to act in ways that make it happen.
And then you can say, I knew it.
I was right all along. Exactly. It's not just a thought pattern, it's a feedback loop that warps your whole reality.
So if I believe I'm going to fail a presentation, I get tense, I start to mumble, my mind goes blank, and I fail. Proving my original beliefs.
Precisely. The example of Doris from the source material is heartbreaking. She was convinced all men would be cruel to her.
And because of that belief, she saw cruelty everywhere.
Even in neutral actions. Someone looking away, she'd think, he's judging me. So she'd react with defensiveness, with accusations.
And of course, people reacted negatively to that behavior.
Which, in her mind, just confirmed it. See? They are cruel. She was creating the very situation she was terrified of.
It's like that attentional bias, right? If you're afraid of spiders, you suddenly start seeing them everywhere.
Your brain becomes a hyper-specialized spider detector.
So the strategy isn't to just fight the fear directly. I love the analogy they use about the weeds and the crops.
It's brilliant, isn't it? Trying to pull out all the weeds of fear one by one is exhausting, and frankly, it doesn't really work.
You just get more weeds.
The smarter move is to stop focusing on the weeds and start planting golden crops instead. Plant positive beliefs. Focus on your psychological strengths. As the source says, we decide the content and quality of our lives by what and how we pay attention.
Okay, let's connect this to something really common. Social anxiety. The sources call it shaking. What's the root of that?
At its core, it's about over-attention to yourself. Constantly monitoring, how am I doing? What are they thinking of me? Am I saying the right thing?
It's like you're the star of a show that only you are watching.
And often there's a huge element of perfectionism. Sufferers believe that if they're not perfectly charming or witty, the whole interaction is a complete failure. There's no middle ground.
So the goal isn't to suddenly become this super outgoing extrovert.
Not at all. It's about changing the thinking pattern. First, you have to reject that perfectionism, and you have to stop overgeneralizing. If you stumble over one word in a 10-minute talk, you can't let that one tiny mistake define the entire experience as a failure. You have to see the other 9 minutes and 59 seconds that went well.
That makes sense. Another huge one is the fear of saying no. So many of us, like the employee Eve in the book, we just say yes to everything because we're afraid of conflict.
Afraid of being seen as selfish or not a team player. It's about a lack of boundaries. Eve was taking on extra work, lending money she didn't have, all because she couldn't bear the thought of someone being upset with her.
But the sources give this amazing historical example of how to say no effectively.
Hua Xin, yeah, the official from the Three Kingdoms period. It's a masterclass in tact.
His friends bring him all these expensive gifts before he leaves for a new post.
And he knows that just refusing them would be a huge insult. It would damage the relationships.
So what does he do?
He accepts them, but he records every single item. Then he tells them, my journey is long and dangerous. I can't possibly protect these precious things. I would be heartbroken if your gifts were stolen.
So he insists they take them back for safekeeping.
Exactly. He refused the gifts, maintained his integrity, and kept his friends. It just proves that saying no is a skill. It can be done with grace.
So this all really boils down to one thing. Avoidance makes fear stronger, and confrontation, even small confrontation, makes it weaker.
And that's the path forward. It's about actively challenging your beliefs, using that logical part of your brain, the prefrontal cortex, to get control back from the amygdala, the fear center.
And that means taking action, even small actions.
Especially small actions. The sources have these great methods for overcoming social fears by practicing failure.
Sounds terrifying.
But it's calculated. Like method 3. Go to a party and deliberately make a tiny mistake. Spill a single drop of water. Say one slightly clumsy thing.
And just see that the world doesn't end.
That people don't care, they don't judge you, they still accept you. Or method 1, just voice a different opinion on something unimportant, like a movie. just to practice disagreeing without it feeling like a major conflict.
You're building up the muscle.
You're building the muscle, and you're also building confidence through physical action. Stand up straight.
Mm.
Make direct eye contact. Those actions send feedback to your brain that says, I am confident, I am capable.
And the most incredible part of all of this is that it's not just a mind game. You are literally changing the physical structure of your brain.
That's the neuroedge. The brain is plastic. The studies they mention on people who practice meditation,
They showed actual physical changes.
quantifiable changes in the gray matter of the amygdala. It actually got smaller, less dense. It's hard proof that consistent, positive, deliberate action can physically rewire your brain to be less fearful.
So the fear isn't just going to disappear overnight, but by reframing it, by facing it in these small, systematic ways, and most importantly, by choosing where you put your focus.
On the golden crops, not the weeds.
You can push it to the side. You can stop letting it run the show and let your actual intentions for your life take over.
The most powerful thing to remember is that you have a choice. Every day, you get to choose what internal story you tell yourself. And that choice is the ultimate weapon against fear.